Now, do you remember, I think it was a couple of weeks ago, 3 at the most, I was having the pleasure of speaking to Thereza Bazar from the band Dollar, many, many hits, and during the chat, the revelation that at the moment she's spending a lot of time in Leeds. And she very kindly offered to come into the studio and see us. Not just her either, Stephen Fox, who is her other half on the tour, celebrating Dollar's song collection, which spanned a decade and included 10 top 40 hits, also has got local connections. If I'm being honest, perhaps a little bit stronger than Thereza's, but anyway, I'm delighted to say the pair of them are with me in the studio this afternoon. Good afternoon.
Hello, good afternoon.
How are you both?
Good afternoon.
You both well?
Very well, thank
I've
you.
certainly got more of a strong Leeds accent than Thereza has.
But I'm practicing. Because I actually.
Oh, do your accent.
Okay, so because I'm getting the bus a lot,
Yes.
so people might be able to put me on the buses because I like people watching. And it's good, and then I get to know where I am. So I asked someone when I wasn't sure where the bus station was. They didn't understand. I said, "Excuse me, could you tell me where the bus station is, please?" Nothing. So I said, and I went, "Hiya, can you tell me where bus station is, please?" And I got this immediate response. I went, "I've got it," So I'm not very good with accents, but I'm trying, because it's important stuff.
Please tell me on the bus you go on the top deck, front seat, so you can see everything and watch everything.
No, I go on the bottom. I like to see who's getting on, who's
Right.
getting off. I don't know where I'm going, and I'm on my phone, and then I'm looking out the window. I'm going, oh my gosh, have I missed it? Because I kind of haven't really spotted the things I should be looking for. But it's great, and the countryside is so lovely.
She has a
Around
new
Leeds.
story every time she arrives at the studio. There's a new bus story. It's so funny.
Tell us, this is our first meeting with you, Stephen.
Yes.
Tell us about you, because you're a Leeds lad, aren't you?
I am, yeah.
Yeah.
Born and bred.
Very good. And you're still based here. That's why the rehearsals are here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, a bit about me. I started singing. Well, my dad was a singer, professional singer, so I was just used to bands rehearsing in the living room and all that when I was from being born, and so I've just grown up with it really, and then I started writing my own stuff, I'd say in the early 90s, but my voice, I suppose you can testify to this, that my voice is more 80s than 90s. Like there was a 90s kind of blur. Basically, you had Tony Hadley and George Michael in the 80s, and my voice is more suited to that kind of thing. So by the time I was old enough to kind of think, okay, I'm going to be a songwriter and I'm going to make it, and the time had passed for that kind of singing. So I'm trying to be, Oasis and Blur, and it just didn't really work. So I think you've got from 20 to 30 to kind of make it in the record industry, and that period was just not for good singers. So I never really had the success. But then I went on to do. I ended up working with Bucks Fizz, so I worked with Cheryl, Mike and Jay at Bucks Fizz to complete their lineup as 4, and that through that, it's like a roundabout way I met Thereza, and I did one show with her, and we loved working with each other. So here we are now.
I know.
Have I been saying, because you've just said Thereza. Are you a Thereza or a Thereza?
I'm both.
Are you?
I'm everything. I am Thereza. No, I like Thereza. You just carry on, Richard.
Well, to be
Sounds
honest,
great.
I was watching you on BBC Breakfast, and they said Thereza. So I thought, right, well, that's bang on then.
Yeah.
But David Bowie was never bothered. He was a Bowie or a Bowie. He
Exactly.
didn't care.
I'll just answer to everything, really. Yeah.
I get called a lot worse than to everything as well. Tell me about because when we spoke to you last time, you were a few weeks away from starting. We're at Tour Eve today, aren't we?
I know, we are. We start the beginning of Ola Tour, which is a brilliant name, isn't it? Fantastic. All Stephen's idea. He's such a creative guy.
Desperation.
Yeah, it was a very late conversation one night, me and Sydney and Stephen in Leeds, and he was going, I've been working for 14 hours on your stuff today and our stuff and doing this, and he goes, and I suddenly thinking the tour, he said, let's just call it Ola Tour, and he carried on rattling on. I went, hang on a minute. I said, that is a brilliant idea. So Ola Tour, yes, we kick off tomorrow. So I'm very excited. It's been a lot of hard work, but working with a live band is a pleasure. The band they're mostly Northerners, which is really good. They're from Hull and Huddersfield, so no one's very far. It's Manchester, so no one's far, and we're getting sort of much tighter knit as a group, which is really what you always hope for.
And the actual rehearsals and the studios, that's a lot to do with you as well, Stephen. Tell us.
Yeah, well, in the 90s, my dad, me and my dad built a recording studio, and at that point, a lot of, it wasn't a big studio, but people didn't record at home, so we were quite busy actually with like bands and things like that. But then that kind of business died down once people could record at home as technology improved. So it's become more of a rehearsal space. So it's obviously ideal. And I do filming as well. So it's a kind of a production thing for filming. So yeah, so it's just like a little creative hub in my parents' garden that they let me use.
So how far is your commute to work then?
It's about 5 minutes of the road. I moved. I was very strategic when I bought a house, and I was like, I'm not moving too far. I'm not going to move too far from this studio. So literally 5 minutes down the street. So yeah, just get out of bed I go around in my pajamas. Working with Thereza, because he's always like, I need this by 6 a.m. tomorrow. So I'll just go around. So yeah, so it's very local.
So you've been doing a lot working, you in Australia, that must be quite difficult with the time difference and everything, is it?
I got used to very early mornings of it. So.
I'm just pushing him back so he's in front of the microphone. He's just like leaning over like a
leaning on Thereza.
No, we kind of worked it out. It meant I used to have to get up earlier, so I was kind of up and happening by about 6 a.m. and then I would do that shift with when UK was still accessible, and then I'd do my day-to-day stuff in Sydney, and then I'd kind of rev up again for interviews and then speaking to the guys again sort of in the evening. So it did work, but it's like an interview. You manage, and you make it the best you can, but it's never the same as being in the same room. It just, there's something, isn't it? There's that little bit extra.
How long have you been a pairing then? How long have you been working on this?
Working on this probably about 8 months.
February,
yeah.
Right, and is that pretty standard? Is that how, I know I'm sort of getting into the nuts and bolts of things, but putting together a tour, the rehearsals, the set lists, everything, it just shows how much work you have to...
I mean, for an hour and a half, 2 hour show, the work that's gone into it is phenomenal.
It is, because it's 2 hours, and it's more, I suppose, a phenomenal amount, isn't it, Stephen? Because the whole show, it's not just people getting up and jumping around and singing some hit records. It's so much more than that. It's meant to be a timeline of what happened musically from when Dollar started in the late 70s, how the music industry changed, the influencers, the songwriters, the producers, how technology changed, and then we go all the way through until the end of Dollar as it was then, which was Au l'Amour in 88. But phenomenal, can't even say the word, phenomenal changes. And so trying to build all that in as well musically is a challenge, and you would understand that the records or the songs that we're singing, which were, resembling the records, because we're trying to be respectful to the iconic themes. That's a challenge in itself because it's changing, and we're working with a live band, so it's been a learning curve, hasn't it, Stephen?
Oh yes.
How different has it been for you, Stephen, to sort of look at these songs for the first time? I know you'll have heard them. I know, but you weren't stood singing, recording with Thereza when these songs were hits initially. Has that been a different experience for you, or has that been a bit similar to what you were doing with Bucks Fizz?
I would say the Bucks Fizz experience, because I did that for a year in 2014, and I had to learn fast to work on a completely different level, because I am a singer and I do sing like for a living, but doing the Bucks Fizz thing, that was on a different level for me, playing Rewind in front of 6,000 people. It was just insane, so I had to think on my feet and learn very quickly, and I would say that was essential to be able to do this work for this tour. And regarding the songs, I knew a lot of the Dollar songs, like obviously Mirror Mirror, the Au l'Amour, the big hits. Give Me Back My Heart was a favourite, but a lot of the album tracks I'd not heard. So Thereza was really gracious. You weren't precious with, you didn't have a list in mind straight away. You were like, well, why don't you go away and listen and see what you want to see,
what grabs you, because I think as an artist you kind of get so used to, well, I actually didn't listen to any of my records for about 2 decades, because I actually literally put them in a box, locked them up, and I didn't listen to anything. So it was a revelation for me coming back and actually revisiting and re-educating myself. But for Stephen, with fresh ears, that's very valuable, and he came up with a couple of album tracks that I thought, oh, you want to do those? I said, yeah, of course. And then from following from Stephen's interest, the band have also been contributing. So it's certainly not like it's my show and Stephen's going to do what I say and the band are going to just faithfully reproduce. It's much more a musical collaboration.
It's great to have you in. I know you've got a gig tomorrow in Milton Keynes, but the main thing we want to talk about here is the City Varieties.
No.
Have you played there, Stephen, being a Leeds lad?
No, I haven't. Do you know what? I've only had 2 places that I've ever wanted. I'm not into stadiums and things like that. I love theatre, and I wanted to play the London Palladium, and I wanted to play Leeds City Varieties just because of my connection with Leeds, obviously, and just because it's a beautiful theatre. And I got to play the London Palladium with Bugs Fizz, and now I'm getting to play the Leeds City Varieties. So, yeah, I'm so excited about it.
Have you been in yet?
No, I haven't. I was looking at all the photographs, and it looks so beautiful. It just looks so stunning. So yeah, and I'm telling everyone it's my home gig. It is my home gig, because I've been in Leeds for the last month, more or less, and it's going to be really exciting. And the crowd's going to be amazing. It's going to be such fun. And we don't want to disappoint.
No.
Do we, Stephen?
No.
Do we, Stephen?
No.
Do we,
well,
Stephen?
obviously, all my friends and family are coming.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
yeah,
No pressure, right? No.
Yeah,
No
I kind of wish it was about 8 dates in rather than the second date. That would have been better. But hey ho.
It's going to be lovely. It's going to be lovely. And as I said, it's always been billed as a sparkly pop party. And it's a celebration. It's a celebration. People should come. They should be nostalgic. They should remember, like even with obviously the big hits like Who Were You With in the Moonlight. Yes, we are playing that. And it will be hopefully take people back to who were they with back in 1970, what was it, 1979, I think. And those kind of things, because music unlocks memories, doesn't it? Very powerful.
Best of luck. I know you've got a bus to catch. So I'll let you go. If you would like to see Ola Tour City Varieties Music Hall on Thursday, unless you want to go to Milton Keynes tomorrow, don't let me stop you, but go to the City Varieties Music Hall. Thereza, Stephen, thank you both ever so much.
Thank you very
thank you,
much.
Richard.